Hey there, sheepdoggers, and welcome to Sheepdog's unfair review of DayZ, the standalone version, which is in early access, alpha. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing three or so, probably three, unfair reviews of early access games, which are kind of tagged survival or survival horror, or, I mean, I am a massive fan of the idea of survival games, and I find that these games quite often feature zombies. DayZ and 7 Days to Die, both of which I'm doing. I'm also going to be doing Rust as an unfair review. And I find that they focus too... They kind of present themselves as giving this open world sandbox play area, and they go and survive. But I'm going to have a look at how much survival is a factor, and how kind of artificial it seems, and how people deal with the game. So first off, as always, we'll go into the configure. Perspective first, invert mouse off, field of view, up, down, shake it all around. Volume, and you can see how you can change that. Voice, and then you got video, audio. It's all fairly standard. If you know Armor, it's fairly easy to get this figured out. And gameplay, head bob down. Head bob's annoying, and you can take it off completely. I've already picked out a server that we're going to go into. I've got a character. We're going to go off and do both of those, possibly. Sometimes it chooses another random character that I've been playing, and who knows. So yeah, DayZ, if you don't know DayZ, I'd be surprised. If you don't know Armor, I'd be less surprised. Like, a lot of people got Armor 2 and Operation Arrowhead, which is the kind of expansion, just purely for DayZ, the mod, which says something about the game, that it's really it's really really fun, and it is. I'm not bashing DayZ as a game. It is a fun game, and there's a lot to be said for it. I do, however, have problems with it. I don't feel that they should have really released it into early access. The mod is already there, and oh, just having a little bit of desync there. That little chain, broken red chain, many of you will know it, means you're desyncing, or possibly the server's going down. Who knows? Don't think the server's going down. Yeah, the problem I have with DayZ is that I really don't think, like, I enjoyed it when I grabbed it and I streamed it for a bit, and I did a video on it, and it's not bad. It's in a very fairly solid state. Very fairly solid state. There you go. That's a great box promotion, isn't it? So yeah, it's in a fairly solid state, and you can go into nearly all the houses now, and look around for stuff. Quite often it's shit you don't need, or shit you've already got, shit you can't actually get because you're already full on pockets and stuff. And there is quite a big issue for me of if you don't have a backpack, then you end up with this situation where you've got all these things, and you're thinking, well, I might need that, but at the same time, a car might burn past my house and ruin my train of thought. At the same time, I very, very much... It's a very specific item, like it's painkillers or something like that, and oh god. Where's he going? Oh, okay. No, come on. There we go. Okay, that was confusing, to say the least. Yeah, apparently the ping is not doing well right now. I pressed tab to see my thing, but that's not going to happen. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by lag and such and so forth, there's if you don't have a backpack, you'll end up with a situation where you just really don't know what to choose. And I think for the most part, it's not too bad. You know, you want food, you want drink, but with food and drink, it's very clearly that's rags or bandages of some kind. It's very quickly obvious that you lose food and drink. You get thirsty way too quickly. Take. There we go. You lose food and drink way too quickly for the game. It's kind of it feels like a little bit of forced. Where the fuck is this zombie gone? It feels like a little bit of forced. Forced survival, basically. Like I really agree with the fact that food and drink is integral to a good survival game. You know, you need to have food, you need to eat food, you need to drink water, but the speed at which you lose these things, like it's just a bit too extreme. What the bloody hell is that? Turn on. Oh, it's a gas lamp. Yeah, I'd say the speed at which you lose all these things is just way too extreme. It gives this added sense of deathmatch. I'm going to be talking about deathmatch a lot because at the end of the day, the way DayZ is set up, the standalone and the mod is set up at the moment, leans towards after the initial rush of enjoying the survival aspect, it leads to deathmatch, and it rinses the fun out of survival for me, and I'll get into that more later. But for now, I'm just gonna say food and drink it decreases way too quickly. I mean, I've already spawned in and I'm thirsty right now, and that zombie's finally found me. Which brings me on to the next point, which is the AI and the zombies. I realise it's in alpha, and I really do hope that they keep with the improvements to the. Okay, I really do hope that they keep to the improvements with the zombies and with the AI, but at the moment, zombies, singular zombies, and just zombies in general, they're not much of a threat. You can see right here, I'm literally running rings around this zombie, although I think the lag has caught up to me yet again. There aren't that many zombies about the place. The loot spawns are decent, but it can be very difficult to find the thing you want in the dregs of everything else that exists. And there you go, he's dead. And he disappeared. Zombies don't seem to drop anything, as far as I've found so far anyway. And with a zombie survival game, I always envisioned hordes of zombies. You know, not necessarily like 2 million, just not a couple every now and then. You see, I mean, there's one just down the road there, and if he sees me, he'll run at me. He may draw a few other zombies towards me with him, but for the most part, I now have a crowbar, and I don't have too much to worry about unless it's like 5 or 6, and then I'll have to be like, well, okay, that's a few too many for me to handle. I heard a zombie grunt somewhere. Maybe not. Alright, well, let's keep going as if I didn't, and then I can be shocked and awed when he pops out of the wall. So yeah, what I'd say about DayZ is it's a solid game. You know, it's got a solid foundation for a good game. There is a decent feeling of survival. It looks great. I mean, I know there are people out there who are very very militant in how good their games have to look and how they want their games to look, and you know they won't accept anything but the best. But yeah, I enjoy DayZ's look, and I enjoy Armor's look. It's not the most amazing, but I mean, just being able to look out over a there's a zombie. That's probably the one that that saw me. I imagine. Yeah, there's more lag. Damn. Oh, I knocked him over. Oh, that's quite cool. Okay, there you go. You can knock zombies over, apparently, which is quite a nice little feature. You can also get hot. Get hit and bleeding, and it's very possible I'll die now. I think there are some bandages back here. And yeah, you can find things like disinfectant, spray cans, like paint spray cans. You know, you can find med kits, and with the blood infusions and stuff now. Oh, he's gonna jump at me. Oh no, he's not. With the blood infusions now, there is you do need your blood type to be known. And if you know, obviously you can't mix blood types. So if someone has one blood type, the bandages are gone. Oh god. Well, I might be fucked. This will probably be a jump. Nope. Yeah. So you know, there's loads of items, and they're really adding to the intricacy of the aspect of survival of this game, which I love. You know, I like the idea of the blood types, and I like the idea that, you know, you have to fight the cold as well as everything else. And they seem to be doing it in a way that I enjoy, you know, not like clear indicators of how bad you are. He's got nothing on him anyway. It doesn't have clear indicators of how bad you are now anymore, like, you know, blood 20,000, and then you slowly lose it as you bleed. I'm bleeding, and that's going down slowly, but I don't know how bad it is, even after I've healed myself, as it were. Crapping to my bollocks pants. So yeah, these are things I really like. I like that is in the base of this game, and it's kind of it's kind of gratifying to see them, you know, stray away from the hand holding and the, you know, the clear kind of indications of how you're doing. That's another zombie over there. Oh, screw it, I'll go check this. And it's the same with food. You know, it says I feel thirsty. I feel very thirsty. You know, you don't know exactly how bad you are, and you won't know until you pass out from hunger and die. And oh god. Okay, well that's. It may be worth switching to another server. But the bad thing about internet, a review on the internet like this is, oh god, I changed server. So yeah, you know, it's and you got regular and hardcore as well. Don't know exactly the difference between those, but I imagine it's you know, you can't go into third person, and you don't have a crosshair or anything, yeah, things like that. But yeah, you know, it's got some really nice aspects that I hope they'll explore heavily. And out of all of the three that I'm going to be doing an unfair review on over this weekend, DayZ definitely has the best kind of backing behind it, and it has the best ideas that I've seen so far. Okay, we're starting again apparently. Fair enough. Yep, I don't mind that. So yeah, you know, it's it's got a really good base to it, and that's encouraging. You know, for someone who enjoys this kind of genre, that's very encouraging. The problem is that there's not too much in the way of establishing yourself as a survivor. You know, you run around, you find supplies. Great, you know, that is the start. You spawn in. Oh my god, it's happening on this one too. What's going on? you spawn in, you find supplies, and then you start surviving. You know, you find water, you find food, you build up a little bit of a reserve in your backpack, and then you move off and you find a melee weapon, and you find all these things, and it's a really great start. The problem is that there's no real way to set up, like a little survival camp out in the woods, and store a few of your more rare and unique possessions, like maybe just dig a little hole and put a little mark out for it that only you will recognize, kind of thing, and then you can come back and you can go out on a little scavenging expedition, maybe do a little trading with other survivors. Like, all these things are partly dependent on the game. They're also dependent on the players, but they're partly dependent on the game. And the reason why the mod took such a downhill dive isn't just because loads of people started playing it. I mean, obviously there are always going to be people who take a game like DayZ, great zombie survival idea. It was just a mod, it didn't have like massive backing or anything. And, they'll take a game like that and they'll go, oh, zombie survival, grab a gun, because you can instantly respawn and everything, new character. They'll grab their character, run into the most populated place with loads of zombies, but also where they know the guns are. And they'll run in there, grab a gun, and start the deathmatch basically. And that's kind of what happened here in the original DayZ mod. That's what happened, is it turned into a giant deathmatch map, which it's not a bad thing. Like, you should be scared of survivors in your just as much as the zombies. If zombie films and everything has taught us anything, it's that people are the real evil, or etc, etc. But at the same time, when I first started playing the mods, I had so much fun running into random survivors and having a little chat, maybe swap in a little bit of meat that I'd hunted for a little bit of food that I'd hunted out, for some ammo, or for a heat pack, or whatever, really, any of those things. And it's really nice. And then as time went on, you got more and more people just playing the deathmatch, because there was no and then, basically. DayZ has no and then. Even now, with all these added survival features that seem to be coming in, which is good, it's a good thing, but there's no and then. My story as a survivor now will be, I run around for a while, I find a backpack, I find a melee weapon, I find enough food to survive, and then I go off and find a weapon, so that, like a pistol or a rifle or whatever, and I find that, and then, and then what? There's nothing to drive me after that. Once I've got those, I can make occasional trips to the town if I need food, or if I need something to drink, and I just get in there, try not to waste too much ammo, probably use my melee weapon anyway, and then get back out. And that's it. That's all it is. It starts to be repetitive, and that's the problem I see in DayZ. So that's why people deathmatch, because there's no storing. You can't go about and get a kind of store going on. It's a rotten banana, kind of sitting up here. Not surprising. You can't go to the local supermarket, which will, if it's in the early days of the apocalypse, would have quite a lot of stuff, and you could go there and ransack and then trade for other supplies. None of that is really possible, aside from on the heavily modded servers, which there's a zombie over there. Good. So yeah, and the thing is they really didn't, in my opinion, need to release this as an early access, the reason they did release it as an early access, I feel, is because they knew so many people wanted to play the standalone, you know, and it would drive their sales, but it would also help their production, you know. So lots of people will be buying this, and you know that means that they have more money to put into the production of the game as well, and you know it's a really great way of showing their showing people interested, you know, in supporting them, that it's a really good enterprise to support because it's so popular. The problem becomes that, as I mentioned, there's no and then yet to this game. You know, there's no driving force to keep you playing, to keep you trying to survive. So, you know, after depending on how well you know the game, after a couple of hours, you could have got to the end of the and then, and you're just thinking, well, screw it, I'm bored, I'm going to kill some survivors. I'm going to kill a whole load of survivors, kind of thing. And that's the problem, is that people will overplay themselves on this game, and in the end, it will turn into what happened with the DayZ mods, and they'll just start deathmatching each other. You know, like just going out with a gun and having massive battles. Well, not massive battles, you know, kind of hunting down survivors on the beach and all that kind of thing. And it's a shame, because when the game is fully released and all the features are in, I think, you know, they're going to add a lot of these survival things I've been wanting in a survival game. But people will still be in the mindset, and the problem with that is, you know, you get into the mindset of deathmatch, and when you let's just see if I can find a bloody melee weapon, and then I can deal with that zombie if he sees me. Oh, wow. I didn't know, as I was saying. Just a quick teleport. And yeah, so, you know, there's people get into the idea of the deathmatch, and they don't get out of it, so that they will kill anyone who they see, just you know, because they've turned the game into that in their minds. And the problem with that becomes that all the other players who are a bit more open-minded, a bit more kind of, you know, if I meet someone, you know, I'll kill them, I'll like rob someone if I need the food, or if they have something really, really important, maybe. But for the most part, I might help them, or if I'm comfortably situated, then I'll help them get a leg up, as it were, in the beginning days. Take the radar cap. Take the radar cap. Okay, well, I'll just do that like that. But those people will, after a while, just automatically, they will automatically fire as soon as they see a survivor. And then, you know, new people coming in will get you know, they may try to begin with, and then they'll get in, and it ends up with everyone just being shoot on sight, because they're also fed up with getting shot themselves, that they've given up on trying to talk through with it. Yeah, much better. They're fed up with trying to reason with, trying to talk to, you know, any of those things. They just don't want to do it anymore. And for the most part, I can understand it. I still try to operate, when I play, I still try to operate with a kind of live and let live attitude. But there are times when that just horribly backfires, you know, because you're like, hey, how you doing? Like, you know, thinking, do you need any help or anything like that? And then they just turn around. Turns out they have a shotgun or a rifle, and they just blast you away, even though you don't even have a melee weapon. And just like, you know what? I really just want to murder everyone next time I see someone. So yeah, you know, it's just how things have evolved, and it's not like I can go, oh, it's the fault of kids, or it's the fault of FPS losers, or, you know, it's not. It's no one specific's fault. I'd say, as I said to begin with, it probably wasn't a great idea to release it as an early access. I mean, if they needed the the money to keep making the game, then maybe I could say, yeah, fair enough. Like if you can't keep making the game, then early access is a decent way to do it. But I feel like companies nowadays are lazy, and they can't, and investors are lazy, and developers are lazy, and everyone's lazy in the game industry, because they realize they can, they can do Kickstarter, and they can do, I've got a syringe, let's do some drugs. They can do Kickstarter, they can do early access, all these things. Greenlight's not quite as bad. But they can do all these things, which basically just mean they don't have to put as much money in. They don't have to get to the stage where they can release a game to actually release a game. Like, are those floating shoes? Oh, floating shoes. Yeah, so there are bugs in this game and everything as well. But yeah, I don't like the idea that they can just go, you know what, let's release this game. Let's put this game out. People will buy it and play it, and then we can take our time, really. I know there's a zombie coming at me. And they're like, yeah, we can take our time basically when it comes to the production, the making of this game. People will just play it as it is. Sure, there'll be a bit of bitching. Sure, there'll be a bit of whining, but that always happens. For the most part, people will just take it. Basically, they'll bend over and take the fact that our game isn't finished. And yeah, there are a lot of people who will defend a shitty game for many reasons. Maybe they actually enjoy it. Maybe, is that zombie still coming at me? Oh, God knows. Maybe they actually enjoy it. Maybe they feel stupid because they bought a bad game. Maybe they're part of the development team. Not talking about any games in particular, but we all know that it happens. The companies will employ people basically to cause confusion and dissent. In game reviews. It's a horrible part of the game industry and a horrible part of PR in general. But the internet allows for some really confusing reviews and controversies and everything. And at the end of the day, nothing. They issue some really shady practices, and people kind of take the opinion of like, well, that's just how it is, and yeah, it's kind of sad. Sorry, this is turning into a bit more of a rant. I need to do a rant on this maybe, but yeah, it's turning into a bit more of a rant than an unfair review on DayZ. So yeah, I'd say out of the three, if you're a fan of survival and you're thinking to yourself, I really want to play a survival game. I mean, this is the first one I've done because I know it's going to be the least controversial of the three to review. But I haven't done the other two to review, but I've played them a lot. And I'd say if you're looking for a survival game, something that has the one that has the most promise, the one that's probably going to be, I wouldn't say the best, but the most survival based, the most rooted in actual survival, it's probably going to be DayZ. Just purely from what I know of what Dean Hall, the man behind the oh god, the man behind the god, yes, no, the man behind the game, the creative genius, as it were. If you want to pick out one game, I'd go with DayZ. Just my own personal recommendation here, but I'd say if you're going for only one, go for DayZ. It's probably going to be the one that's the best. That's the best purely survival game. Okay, we're gonna run. So I think I've spoken about most things. There are differences from the mods. The graphics have been improved. There are other features that aren't in the mods. The standalone allows for more freedom, and I think with DayZ, the standalone game, it's the freedom that it's going to allow is to be more survival. And I think the team behind DayZ are going to push this game to be more survival, more and more. So I think the problems that I envisage with this game, and the problems that exist with this game, will slowly start to diminish. It won't be perfect. I'm sure there'll always be people who just want a deathmatch. which, you know, it doesn't make much sense when you think about it, like the size of the map and all the gameplay mechanics in you know, looking at them properly. But yeah, I think it will turn into a very, very decent, very, very well done survival game when it's fully released. And I imagine, you know, there'll keep being updates for it and everything as well. So that's the hope. Oh my god, that's a hell of a teleport. And obviously, you know, there are connection issues and sometimes, and there are bugs, and, you know, things go well, things go badly. That's all you can really say about it. I noticed there was a bag in there, so we're going to go back and pick up that bag, because without a bag you don't have enough slots to carry much of anything. So yeah, I mean, the problems I have with it aren't really gameplay based. It's other people. I don't really think it should have been released as an early access, not from a business standpoint or from a gameplay standpoint particularly, just purely because I think people are going to get bored with it because they'll play it too much, and there's not enough kind of, I guess you'd say, end game content. But if you were to say, would you advise me to get this game? I'd say, well, you know, maybe. Like, even early access, maybe. If this is the kind of thing you can enjoy, and you do enjoy, then there's no reason for me to tell you not to buy it, aside from the fact that it, you know, the bugs and the early access and the slight lack of content to it. You know, all in all, it's a pretty solid game, and we all know games that have been released claiming to be, you know, survival or whatever, that were fucking terrible. So, you know, you're not going to feel like an idiot for getting this game. I'm not going to advise you to get it. I'm just going to say you won't feel like an idiot if you do. So as we run off into the sunset with a finely acquired bag, zombies... Oh, there's a sun over there. So as we run away from the sunrise, with a bag, I was doing a stream for like 2 hours where I couldn't find a bloody bag. It's really annoying. With zombies chasing us, I will say DayZ is a good, if you're going to get an early access survival game, DayZ is a very good choice to go with, and I will not take the piss out of you if you choose DayZ. So there you go, guys. That's my unfair review. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative. You may want to expect a rant about early access games and Kickstarter and things like that at some point, because now it's in my head, and I'll do my best in the other unfair reviews to avoid that. And I'll see you in the next video.